In this video, we will look at installing and configuring the VMware vSphere Replication appliance. We are going to take a look at the vSphere Replication appliance installation, and then once it's installed, we will look to see how it can be configured. This will put in place the various pieces that you need to understand, because we are going to, in our lab, demonstrate a very sophisticated environment of interconnected vSphere Replication appliances and vSphere Replication servers. So we are now logged into the VMware vSphere web client. As you can see, this is headquarters 192.168.0.220, and it is linked to a branch site which is running a vCenter server 221. So this is running in linked mode. Now from the summary, you can see that there is a section for vSphere Replication at headquarters at the 220 vCenter server, and the target site is the branch office that it is connected to. However, when I click on the vCenter server for one of the other branches, when I look at the summary, I actually do not get anything for vSphere replications, which means that there is no vSphere Replication appliance running here. So let's go through the process of deploying this OVF. Now, there are times in between in a deployment when it just chugs away the computer, and what I'll do is I'll pause the recording at those times. So standard process to deploy template, browse. I'm going to find it by ISO. So the way the replication server and the replication appliance are actually delivered by VMware is on basically an ISO, a DVD image. And so what you have to do is get that image and then mount it, and then go into the bin folder, and there you will see two OVFs basically. One is add-on OVF 10 and the other is OVF 10. If there is no vSphere Replication appliance that's installed on that vCenter, then one has to first use vSphere Replication OVF 10, because this has the management services in it as well, which is what is required first. But then to install other proxy replication servers, this is the OVF that's used, and we will see that in a different process. So for now, we select this, and I'm going to breeze through this just to give you an idea of the kind of information that's required. So it's all standard. I accept it, click next, and it's going to install it at site 2 packed publishing, because this vCenter 221 is managing the data center packed publishing site 2. Click next. I will deploy a 2 CPU configuration because I have a smaller server running at branch office site 2, and the server that's running in the data center, this is the only one that's there. I click on that, click next. Well, there's only one local data store, there's plenty of room available. I click next. I'm actually going to go back and make this thin provisioned, and then click next. IP protocol DHCP. I don't really like DHCP, so we do static manual, and then what we have to do is to key in some DNS servers, which are in my case 192.168.0.1. then I have my local 192.168.0.222, and then I have the one on the internet. The net mask is 255.255.255.0. It's a 24-bit mask, and my gateway is 192.68.0.1. Quick look. Yeah, that's correct. I click next. Now I have to enter passwords, and again this has to be a strong password, right? That is better. My NTP servers are the pool servers available in the US, so 2.us.pool.ntp.org, and let's say 3.us.pool.ntp.org. and then my networking properties are basically going to ask me for the IP address for this interface, for this replication appliance, and 2.168.0.75 is what I will use here. and I click next. And then what I will do is I will power it on after deployment. So main thing to remember is 192.168.0.75. So I'm monitoring the tasks in that vCenter. As you can see, it's deploying the OVF template at this point in time. It's already created the new virtual machine and the MAC addresses and everything else. So we'll wait for this to complete. It is now at 70% complete and should be ready very soon. It looks like it has completed. Okay, so that's completed and it should be powering up now. So the vSphere Replication appliance powered on and it's going through its process. It takes a little while. We'll come back when this is complete, because we then have to go through the configuration process. And so the vSphere Replication appliance is installed and we now have to configure it. So we have to use the standard virtual appliance management interface, the VAMI interface, at port number 5480, which is what we're going to do next. So we are at the VAMI or VAMI interface, the virtual appliance management interface here, and we key in root and we enter the password that we had entered at the OVF deployment. And this is what we see. We see a section for configuration and a section for changing the appliance credentials. Replication between sites. Before you can replicate virtual machines between sites, you must deploy a virtual VR appliance, vSphere Replication appliance at each site and register it with respect to vCenter server, which is what we're going to do now, because at this branch we need to register this with the vCenter server. So standard stuff, you have the VR up there getting started, and switch into configuration. So we'll use the embedded database. You can find an existing VRM database as well, so this is for recovery purposes. Our lookup service address is 221, so it basically recognizes our local vCenter, and the address here is the domain. SSO domain is not vSphere.local, it is actually site.local, and the password for it is I will scroll down a little bit and look at these parameters. So the management address, which is VRM, M for management, is 75, which is correct. The site name is 221, that is our vCenter server, and it has the same address. Talks on port 80. I'm going to leave this alone, and we will save and restart the service, and it goes through a process of verifying the SSL certificate and so on. And we look at this. Yep, this is all correct, proper thumbprint, and I hit accept, and it is going through the process of implementing itself, including the plugins and everything else, and then starting the VRM service. It is now starting up the replication manager service, and in a few minutes we should have a green message visible to us. So here we have our message in green, successfully saved the configuration. So this vSphere Replication appliance in management is also running the management service. You can see that as VRM, M for manager, at address 75, and it's registered with the vCenter 221, which is running at the branch and is running in linked mode with 220 vCenter server, which is running at headquarters. Before we move out of this, let's just go through the various options. All very standard stuff for the VAMI interface. You can change your passwords here, and you can actually change your certificates here as well, which would be on the configuration page right up here. SSL certificate policy and so on. You can install new certificates, as well as accept only SSL certificates signed by trusted certificate authority. Again, this is all standard stuff. Support is basically if you need to retrieve support bundles and so on. If there's a problem, well, you can generate your support bundle here. Everything is good right at this point because our VRM service is actually running. Just verify the network configuration one more time. I didn't bother about the host name. You could have changed that. 192.168.0.1 is a gateway. That's what we entered, and then it only took, interestingly enough, 2 DNS server entries, the first 2, which I had entered, and not third one, which was on the internet. That's interesting. And this has the 24-bit address. Okay, look at the address. I can change the host name here. I can change my DNS servers. I'm not going to bother with that. and of course, if you have a HTTP proxy, so again, nothing very different here. On the update, you can of course check for updates and so on. The settings are no automatic update, so you can automatically check and install, and you have the the default repository where this information is available. Anyway, this is easy enough to do. And as far as the system goes, we're running the latest version of vSphere Replication Appliance, version 6.1.1.x. So this completes our configuration of the vSphere Replication Appliance. We installed it, we configured it, and made it available in the vCenter server 221, which you can see on the configuration page. Our lookup service address is 221. I'm going to log out of this, and then we can go back into our vCenter server and take a look at the additional icon that we should see on the home page, which is that of the vSphere Replication Appliance. So we see here, this is the vCenter at the branch 221, and the vSphere Replication is actually available there. Remember, this is all working in linked mode. As you can see, 221, it's enabled and it's okay. So when we go to Monitor tab on this 221 vCenter, which is at the branch office, we just installed vSphere Replication. We see the vSphere Replication tab up there, and the incoming replications and so on. And as usual, the summary is best. It shows us that vSphere Replication has been installed and that no target sites have yet been configured. In the next video, we will do a lab tour so that you understand how vSphere Replication has been set up, which will again lay the stage for future work that we will do in this course. We will also explore the vSphere Replication user interface. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.